Emma Sinclair wiped the dust from an ancient stone tablet she had uncovered in the ruins near York. The sun cast a pale light through the crumbling archway, revealing strange symbols carved deep into the surface. Her heart raced with excitement. This find could change everything historians knew about the region. She glanced over her shoulder as footsteps echoed down the narrow corridor. Thomas Reed appeared, his eyes gleaming with interest and a hint of something unreadable. "I see you have found something remarkable," he said quietly. Emma nodded. "These symbols do not match any record. They might be from a forgotten tribe." Thomas studied the tablet carefully. "If you are right, Emma, this could rewrite history." Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the ruins. Emma shivered. She felt the weight of the past pressing down on her, but also a dangerous secret waiting to be uncovered. Back in York, Emma returned to her modest flat, the tablet carefully wrapped. Her mother, Clara, awaited her with a worried look. "Are you sure this is safe, Emma? Some things are better left buried." Emma smiled, but her mind was already racing. The past was calling, and she could not turn away. The following morning, Emma returned to the site, determined to learn more about the tablet. The ruins stretched out under a dull gray sky, the stones cold and worn by centuries of wind and rain. She knelt beside the tablet's resting place, tracing the carved symbols again with her fingers. Her thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Thomas Reed. He moved with quiet confidence, holding a leather-bound notebook filled with sketches and notes. "I spent the night researching these markings," he said, flipping through pages. "They resemble an ancient language believed to belong to a tribe long erased from history." Emma's eyes widened. How could a tribe just vanish without a trace? Thomas shrugged. Power struggles, forced migrations, or even deliberate erasure by conquering forces. History is rarely kind to the defeated. Emma glanced around the ruins. "Do you think we could find more evidence here? Something that explains who they were?" Thomas nodded thoughtfully. "Possibly. But we must tread carefully. The deeper we dig, the more secrets we might unearth. And some secrets people want to keep hidden." They began to explore further, carefully stepping over uneven stones and crumbling walls. The air felt heavy, as if the ruins themselves whispered warnings. Suddenly, Emma spotted a faint outline on a broken wall, a mural, faded but still visible. She reached out to touch it. The figures depicted were unlike anything she had seen before. Tall, slender shapes with elongated limbs and eyes that seemed almost human but alien at the same time. The colors were muted, yet the emotion in the art was undeniable. Fear, hope, and something darker. Thomas examined the mural. "This is incredible. It tells a story. Perhaps a warning." Emma's heart pounded. The discovery was no longer just about history. It was about understanding a message sent through time. Back at her flat, Emma pored over books and old maps, cross-referencing every detail. She called Clara. "I think this tribe had enemies who wanted to erase them completely." Clara's voice was soft, almost a whisper. "Be careful, Emma. Sometimes the past refuses to stay buried for a reason." As night fell, Emma lay awake, the tablet symbols swirling in her mind. She was beginning to realize that this journey was more than academic curiosity. It was a race against forces both seen and unseen. The days that followed brought more questions than answers. Emma's discovery sparked interest from the local historical society, and soon she found herself invited to a lecture by Professor Thomas Reed at York University. The topic was the ancient tribes of Britain, but Emma sensed there was more beneath the surface. In the lecture hall, Thomas's voice was calm but carried an edge of urgency. "History is written by those who survive, but often it hides truths that are inconvenient or dangerous. The tribe Emma uncovered is one such example." Emma's gaze met Thomas's, a silent understanding passing between them. After the lecture, he invited her to his office where the walls were lined with bookshelves, filled with dusty tomes and fragile manuscripts. "Emma," Thomas began, "there are forces beyond academic curiosity that want this history to remain buried. Powerful interests who benefit from keeping certain truths hidden." Emma felt a chill. What kind of forces? Not all battles are fought with swords and armies. Some are fought in courtrooms, in boardrooms, and in whispered threats. You must be careful whom you trust. She nodded slowly. "I won't let fear stop me." Thomas handed her a worn envelope. Inside are letters from previous researchers who tried to uncover this tribe's secrets. Many were discredited. Some disappeared. This is why we must be cautious. That night, as Emma read the letters by the flickering candlelight, she uncovered stories of sabotage, false accusations, and even threats against those who got too close. Her phone buzzed suddenly. A message from an unknown number. Stop digging or face the consequences. Emma swallowed hard. The past was no longer just a puzzle. It was a trap. Emma woke the next morning with a heavy weight pressing on her chest. The message lingered in her mind like a dark cloud. She debated whether to share it with Thomas, but uncertainty gnawed at her. Who could she really trust? Determined not to be intimidated, she headed to the local archives to search for more clues about the lost tribe. The ancient records were fragile and smelled of mold, but Emma's fingers danced across pages filled with faded ink and forgotten names. Hours passed, and Emma stumbled upon an entry that caught her eye. A secret society formed centuries ago, dedicated to guarding the truth about the tribe. The society's name was never written openly. Only symbols marked their presence. Emma's heart raced. Could this be the key to understanding the threats she faced? Later that day, Emma met Thomas at a small cafe in the center of York. The streets buzzed with tourists unaware of the secrets hiding beneath their feet. Emma shared her findings and the mysterious message. Thomas listened carefully, his expression grave. This confirms what I feared. The society is very real, and they have members in high places. They have prevented the truth from seeing the light for generations. Emma's hands trembled slightly. How do we fight something so entrenched? Thomas took a deep breath. We find allies. People who believe in uncovering the truth no matter the cost. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma knew the path ahead was perilous. The shadows over York were deep and long, but she was ready to face them. The following morning, Emma received a call from Clara. Her voice was trembling with urgency. Emma, I found something in the old university archives. A manuscript that might explain the tribe's fate. Emma hurried to meet Clara in a quiet corner of the city's ancient library. The manuscript was fragile, its pages yellowed and delicate. As Emma carefully turned the pages, she found detailed accounts of a mysterious event, a betrayal that led to the tribe's disappearance. The text described a powerful figure known as the Shadow Lord, who orchestrated the tribe's downfall to seize control over their sacred lands. It spoke of secret rituals and hidden alliances, of trust shattered and blood spilled. Emma's heart pounded as she read. This wasn't just history. It was a warning. Do you think the Shadow Lord is still relevant? Emma asked Clara. Clara nodded grimly. The society Thomas mentioned may be descendants or protectors of that legacy. They don't want the truth revealed. Emma knew then that her quest was no longer about academic discovery. It was about survival and justice. Outside, the wind howled through York's narrow streets, as if echoing the voices of the past. Emma closed the manuscript and looked up, steeling herself for what lay ahead. Emma's determination deepened, but so did the dangers surrounding her. She noticed strange glances from colleagues and strangers alike, and subtle warnings hidden in everyday conversations. The shadows seemed to close in. One evening, as she reviewed her notes in her small flat overlooking the River Ouse, her phone buzzed with an unexpected message from Sophie, her younger sister. Meet me. There's something you need to know. It's urgent. Emma's heart skipped a beat. Sophie had always been distant since their falling out years ago, but now she was reaching out. Against her better judgment, Emma agreed to meet. They met at a quiet cafe tucked away in a narrow street of York. Sophie looked anxious, her eyes darting nervously. There's someone close to you, Emma, Sophie whispered. Someone you trust. Who is working against you? Emma's mind raced. Could it be Thomas? Or someone else? Sophie continued, I overheard a conversation. They're trying to discredit your research, even stop you from speaking. Emma felt a cold wave of betrayal wash over her. The enemy was not just in the shadows but among those she thought were allies. Her quest for truth was more perilous than ever. The past was fighting back. And this time, it was personal. Emma felt the weight of betrayal but refused to falter. With Sophie's warning fresh in her mind, she carefully re-examined her contacts and sources. Every smile, every handshake was now shadowed by suspicion. Yet she knew that retreat was not an option. Determined to reveal the truth, Emma planned a public presentation at the York Historical Society. She hoped that exposing the ancient tribe's story openly would protect her from further attacks. The night of the event arrived. The grand hall was filled with curious townsfolk and academics alike. Emma's voice echoed as she recounted the tribe's history and the hidden manuscript's revelations. Midway through, a figure entered quietly. One Emma recognized immediately. It was Mark, a close colleague she had trusted deeply. His expression was cold, almost unreadable. Emma's heart tightened. After her presentation, Mark stepped forward. "Emma, your research is flawed," he said quietly but firmly. "You're chasing myths, not facts." A murmur spread through the crowd. Emma looked him directly in the eye. "The truth is inconvenient, but that doesn't make it false." Suddenly, Sophie stood from the back of the room. "You're wrong, Mark. Emma has uncovered what others wanted to hide. It's time the truth was known." The room fell silent, tension thick in the air. The battle for history's secrets had just begun, but Emma felt a spark of hope amid the shadows. The tension in the room was palpable, every eye fixed on Sophie as she spoke with unwavering conviction. Emma's heart swelled with gratitude and newfound strength. Together, they had ignited a spark that no shadow could extinguish. Following Sophie's bold declaration, whispers turned into murmurs of support. Some of the audience members, scholars and locals alike, began sharing their own stories and memories connected to the lost tribe. Emma realized she was no longer alone in her quest. In the days that followed, the pressure from the secret society intensified. Mysterious threats came by letter and shadowy figures watched from a distance. But Emma's resolve never faltered. A decisive breakthrough came when Thomas uncovered a hidden chamber beneath York's old cathedral. Inside lay relics and documents proving the tribe's existence and the society's attempts to erase them from history. Emma and Sophie stood side by side, presenting the evidence to the world. The truth could no longer be denied or hidden. It was a new dawn, not just for Emma, but for a forgotten people finally remembered. As sunlight poured through the cathedral's stained glass, Emma knew the fight was far from over, but the journey towards justice had begun.